I should be talking, but I have nothing to say. One bolt removed. Uno. 2 bolts removed. We gotta remove this little guy, Phillips, use a little stubby. There's a clip that goes right here that we removed, and it can be a little tricky getting this out, so just kind of have to maneuver it around. Maybe open the door, give yourself some more space. Fender bolt removal. Okay, on the inside of the fender, there's a splash guard you need to remove from the inside of the fender. You can just push them out, very easy. And then there's a 10mm nut on the inside of the fender that you will need to remove. And now that I'm thinking about it, you probably didn't need to pull the splash guard out at all. You just needed this 10mm nut. sometimes you learn as you go. You gotta install the new fender in the old fender location, just like we took it out. Slide her in. Place all the nuts. As you do this, you want to be cognitive of the gap in the door. So it's probably best to tighten the lower ones first, lower screws first, and then adjust the top accordingly to make sure you have that nice line. Since we have the fender off, it's easier to mount this. So as you can see, we've removed these clips off the fenders, and this goes in its place. So we literally put that there, and then we bolt these down. Alright, now we go ahead and install the lower bolts on the pinch seam of the fender. I'm in a weird angle here. Move this out of the way for now. And if you guys move your jack stands around, be sure not to stick your head under there in case the jack fails. It's not a good day to die. Not by getting your head crushed in from a jack. That would be horrific. Not for you, but probably your spouse, your brother, your sister, your mama. They don't need to see that. And then this, you don't want to align it however you want the door gap to look. Now we replace the fender liner. Fender liner goes in exactly how it came out, just in reverse order. It's easiest to put the rear part of the fender liner in first. And there's a little clip. The clips that we pulled out, push that one in first underneath on the bottom, and just roll it in. I really don't have to go into detail on telling you guys how to do this. It's really self-explanatory on doing it. So. Install the headlights next. Most of the time we leave this at the end, so we don't scratch them and all that good stuff. But we need to check the alignment of the fender before we tighten the alignment or the fender down. So let's put these on. And as you can see, fender fits perfectly right where it sits, so we're good. All right, so next step is going to be installing the bumper for the quick release kit. The best thing to use to marking it, I used to use paint, all kinds of stuff, baby powder, and I found high school jelly. This works the best. So just put a little bit of lube on your finger and you just put a little dab on the end of your knob. Hence, high school jelly. On this side, a little high school jelly on there. Want it tight on the knob of the bolt. That way you don't get a skewed mark. So what we're gonna do is we'll put the bumper on and install the bumper the way it needs to be. And then you press the bumper onto the bolt head or the knob, and it leaves a little bit of the petroleum jelly on the inside, and that marks our hole. You can buy this at your local CVS. So what I like to do, installing this bumper. Yeah, try not if you can. So what I like to do installing this bumper is put a couple of bolts in the top of this bumper just to hold it in place of where it will go. We let it touch on accident installing it, so let's put some more lube on it. Try to make it a nice little ball at the end like that. And then what we're gonna do is make sure everything's installed on the headlight, everything. You're gonna wanna eyeball where this thing is lined up and push. And as you can tell, if you look in there, it leaves a little spike of petroleum jelly right on the inside lid. Those are our holes to mark. You wipe the excess off and move to the other side. What we do now is we're going to tape the outside of the fender, and this helps so when we start drilling through we don't chip the paint. It's a plastic composite bumper, so paint probably won't chip either way, but better safe than sorry. So all right, and on the inside you can take a pilot drill, or you can use, this is what we end up drilling with. You need one of these. So this is just a cone bit. Drilling the pilot side, on the inside you can see our little dabs. So we're literally, yeah, there's that word again. Put your tip of your drill bit right on the dab, boop. And that's gonna be our hole. So that's our pilot hole. And then we'll drill the other side of it on the other side. So same thing on this side, find your dab. And then we're gonna go back to the other side. As you can see, we made little dimples here. That's where our hole is gonna be for a quick release. So I'll put this back in. What I do is I usually make a nice little hole there, and we use the quick release itself to manage the hole. So we'll test it. That one's pretty good. So we'll get it close. This one, what I like to do is drill it so it's perfect where we can actually screw this into the bumper itself like that. So the perfect hole, but we're not ready for that. So that's one hole. Let's go to the next. It might not be big enough, but we'll test it out. I think that one's gonna be perfect. So after you drill those holes, go ahead and pull it off the tape. As you can see, no chipping around of the paint coming off. It looks bitchin'. So these, if you drill the hole big enough, you could just push them through. I like to make them tight so I can actually screw it into the bumper. If you can. This doesn't always work out, but all the ones I do usually screw into the bumper like that. And even though you have a locking nut on the back, that's all you really need, but when it's screwed into the bumper and you have the locking nut, it's just that much better. So we just screw these in. So don't be afraid to drill the bumper. If you make slight mistakes, there's adjustments you can make on the post and stuff, so it's not the end of the world. So that's that. So those are flush, and then you, on the back side of the bumper, the easiest thing to do is have a crescent wrench, because I'm not sure what size it is. We're going to put these locking rings back here. Kind of tough to get aligned sometimes because they're really cheap locking rings. Okay, and then when you tighten it, you don't need to go ape shit on the tightening, just snug it up. You don't want to start dimpling the other side of the bumper. Snug up, that's it. So, quick release latches are installed on this side of the bumper. We're going to hop over to the next side and do the exact same thing as we did here. And then the next step would be putting the bumper on the car and put it all together, checking for alignment and making adjustments, and we'll go over that in a minute. All right, so we got the bumper in. As you can see, it's not lined up all the way in. It's not pushed in. If you look from this angle, you can see how far it sticks out. So now what you got to do now is adjust the posts that are holding these guys. So just like to pull these off, there's a little button, push in and wiggle. So on the post in here, basically you're going to push these in. So that had to go in probably 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to actually loosen these up. So we're going to move that nut up 1/4 of an inch and tighten this rear one up. And you know what's going to happen? We got to cut the post. Unfortunate. The post is too long again, so we're going to have to go ahead and trim that one. We cut these down pretty short, as you can see. So now we're going to reinstall those. Same thing. Put it in the hole. We got a washer on the back side. And again, you must put your nut on the back side. And what we do is got those on there again. We're going to test fit once again. Looks good there, but we need to springs are too tight in there. We might have to run springless. Yep, so. All right, guys, that's it for the install today. We went to the tire shop this morning, got some new rubber on this car. Went from a 215 35 series to a 235 40 series tire. With the extra meat, we put some fenders on here that were already rolled and flared a little bit for clearance purposes. We left you off of us adjusting the brackets. On your particular car, just keep adjusting it until you get it correct. Could take 15 minutes, it could take an hour. On this particular car, we got the old version of the brackets, which is a little bit hard to deal with. So it took us about 45 minutes to an hour to get it close to right. We're gonna go ahead and order the third variation of the bracket and redo the brackets on this just to make it, perfect. If you have any problems in that process or didn't understand something, go ahead and message us. The best way to get a hold of us is on Facebook or Instagram. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you like what we're doing over here, go ahead and subscribe. If there's any videos that you guys definitely want to see, or something you don't understand on the car and wanted to explain, a review, product review, you want to see behind the scenes of so-and-so's shop, or Whatever the case may be, go ahead and message us, let us know. That's it. Thanks, guys.